Good morning or good afternoon, depending on where you are viewing from in the world. Welcome to the Silent Forgotten. I'm your host, Chris, and today I will be sharing with you the life story and visiting the final resting place of the professional hockey player, amateur hockey player, and professional hockey coach George James Red Sullivan, 1929 to 2019. George James Red Sullivan was a professional hockey player, amateur hockey player, and a professional hockey coach in the National Hockey League or NHL. The 5'11" and 155-pound Sullivan, who shot left, played at the center position in the National Hockey League or NHL with the Boston Bruins, the Chicago Blackhawks, and the New York Rangers. He was born one of six children as George James Sullivan to John James Sullivan, 1888 to 1941, and his wife Regina Allen Doherty Sullivan, 1889 to 1979, in Peterborough, Ontario, Canada, on December 24, 1929. He played 4 seasons with the St. Catherine Teepees of the Ontario Hockey Association, or OHA, from 1947 to 1950. He also was drafted and played with the Boston Bruins of the National Hockey League, or NHL, from 1949 to 1950, the Hershey Bears of the American Hockey League, or AHL, from 1949 to 1950, and again with the Boston Bruins of the National Hockey League, or NHL, from 1950 to 1953, and again with the Hershey Bears of the American Hockey League, or AHL, from 1952 to 1954. He was then drafted and played with the Chicago Blackhawks of the National Hockey League, or NHL, from 1954 to 1956. With the Chicago Blackhawks, he led them in scoring in the 2 years he played with them. He also was drafted and played with the New York Rangers of the National Hockey League, or NHL, from 1956 to 1961. In one famous game with the New York Rangers, he was almost killed by the defenseman Doug Harvey of the Montreal Canadiens when he speared him in the stomach and ruptured his spleen. A priest was even called in to perform last rites, but he recovered from his injuries and completed his time on the ice with the New York Rangers. He lastly played and coached with the Kitchener-Waterloo Beavers of the Eastern Pacific Hockey League, or EPHL, from 1961 to 1962, before finishing out his playing and coaching with the Baltimore Clippers of the Amateur Hockey League, or AHL, from 1962 to 1963, before hanging up his skates. His total National Hockey League, or NHL hockey career totals include 557 games played, 107 goals, 239 assists, 346 points, 441 penalties and minutes during the regular season, and 18 games played, 1 goal, 2 assists, 3 points, and 6 penalties and minutes during the playoffs. In addition, his Ontario Hockey Association, or OHA, career totals include 85 games played, 56 goals, 75 assists, 131 points, and 106 penalties and minutes during the regular season, and 5 games played, 6 goals, 4 assists, 10 points, and 6 penalties and minutes during the playoffs. His Amateur Hockey League, or AHL, career totals include 256 games played, 92 goals, 237 assists, 329 points, and 185 penalties and minutes during the regular season, and 9 games played, 3 goals, 9 assists, 12 points, and 4 penalties and minutes during the playoffs. His Eastern Pacific Hockey League, or EPHL, career totals include 61 games played, 16 goals, 46 assists, 62 points, and 81 penalties and minutes in the regular season, and 7 games played, 1 goal, 6 assists, 7 points, and 4 penalties and minutes. Following his retirement from playing hockey, he became head coach of the New York Rangers from 1962 to 1966, the Pittsburgh Penguins from 1967 to 1969, and the Washington Capitals from 1974 to 1975. His total coaching record in the National Hockey League, or NHL, includes 364 games, 107 wins, 199 losses, 59 ties, and 348 points. With the New York Rangers, he was 5th in the National Hockey League, or NHL, and 6th in the National Hockey League, or NHL, but missed the playoffs and then was fired following the 1965 to 66 hockey season. With the Pittsburgh Penguins, he was 5th in the West but missed the playoffs, and with the Washington Capitals, he was 5th in the North but was fired after the 1974 to 1975 hockey season. As a head coach, he was often around the likes of Buzz Patrick, Jim Anderson, Emile Francis, Harry Howell, Andy Bathgate, and Milt Smith. In addition, he had another 327 points as head coach He also served many years as a hockey coach for Boston, Philadelphia, and the NHL Central Scouting. Following his retirement from both playing hockey and coaching, he continued to live in his native Peterborough, Ontario, Canada until his death. He passed away following a lengthy battle with Alzheimer's disease at St. Joseph's at Fleming in Peterborough, Ontario, Canada on January 19, 2019 at the age of 89. Following his death, his funeral service was held at the Duffus Funeral Home in Peterborough, Ontario, Canada, and a funeral mass in his honor was held at the Immaculate Conception Church in Peterborough, Ontario, Canada, and he was interred at the St. Joseph's Roman Catholic Cemetery in Durrow, Ontario, Canada. He was married to Mary and Catherine Redmond Sullivan for 67 years, and she survived him. The couple had 4 children together, including Jane, Kate, Suzanne, and a son named Daniel Joseph Sullivan, June 2, 1952 to May 26, 2020. He also had 12 grandchildren and 11 grandchildren. For his contributions to the sport of hockey, he was awarded the Les Cunningham Award in the American League or AHL from 1953 to 1954, the John B. Sullenberger Trophy in the American Hockey League or AHL from 1953 to 1954. Also, an all-around athlete, he played fastball, playing second base and first base several times, leading the City League batsmen in hitting and homes. This and his impressive hockey career earned him being named one of the best hockey players ever produced in Peterborough, Ontario, Canada, and also having the distinction of being one of the hardest workers and hustlers in the National Hockey League or NHL. This led to his induction into the Peterborough Sports Hall of Fame in the hockey and softball category in 1980. He was also ranked number 66 on the all-time list of the 901 New York Rangers in the book 100 Ranger Greats, which was published in 2009, and he was also named Peterborough's Athlete of the Century. He also has a life-size billboard image of himself at the city's Hunter Street Bridge near the historical Quaker Oats building, which was dedicated in 2013. His grandsons, Shane Sullivan, Connor Tracy, Dennis Tracy, Brian Tracy, great-granddaughter Sadie Holtleys, and great-grandsons Charlie Holtleys and Jack Tracy all play hockey. Thank you, George James Red Sullivan, for everything you did for the sport of hockey, and may you rest in peace. Here I am at the St. Joseph Roman Catholic Cemetery in Durrow, Ontario, Canada. And as I mentioned, we will be visiting the final resting place of George James Red Sullivan, a professional and amateur hockey player, as well as a professional National Hockey League coach. So I'll show you a bit of the cemetery before we pay our respects, but not too much of the cemetery, as I will do a separate cemetery video at a later date. So I'll start off showing you the cemetery. This is a big cemetery, as I said. It's in Durrow, Ontario, Canada, which is the country. We have the church over there. So I'll start, as I said, not too much, but I'll just do a little tour just so you can see a couple of the old stones here. We'll take a walk up this way. It's beautiful today. We're having an Indian summer. And there's a tractor in the background if you can hear it. Sorry about that. But some real old ones over here. Again, this is a pioneer cemetery, and we're in farming country. We did have a grocery store over here beside the church. It was over 130 years old, I believe it was. But unfortunately, due to some renovations going on, there was I believe it was the electrical fire, and it burned down. And I forget the gentleman's name at the moment, but he and his family are buried in here too. Go this way. As I said, this is a Roman Catholic cemetery, so there's some nuns and some priests in here as well. Some really old ones there. The beautiful carvings on them. Beautiful. Go this way over here. There's a little path over here. This grass is kind of bumpy, so sorry if the camera's shaking a little bit. I got a grip on it. Some over there. Bench over there where somebody can sit when they're visiting. Now this is a little chapel up here. I think this is where they used to store the bodies in the winter time of the revolving vault, or whatever it is called. And we have a war veteran here, Private James, interred in Holland, January 1945. Coughlin. Sorry, the glare from the sun is a bit off on these stones, really shiny. And I won't show too many of these ones. Some new ones over here. There is another view of the cemetery. Some beautiful trees over there. A beautiful one over here, Carlo. Got lots of beautiful flowers on it. I don't want to get too close to some of the stones, so the shadow will be on it. This has a layout of the cemetery, so you can actually find who you're looking for by their name. That's the mortuary vault, the receiving vault. That's what, not revolving, sorry. So then a few more over here. It's pretty big cemetery. I just saw an interesting stone over here. I'll take you over and show you this one. The name's Fitzgerald. They were right there. I won't get too close because he's still alive, but James and Ruth Ann McGinnis. May she rest in peace. And then come back over here. Show you a little bit more. Like I said, I'll come back at a later date and I'll do a more longer video of the cemetery, just show you around the grounds. Look at all those beautiful clouds over there, all that field that has not been touched. Beautiful big house over there. Here we have a Reverend James McGuire. Sorry, I don't want to cast my shadow on the stone. And he would have served at the church that I just showed you. So we'll go over here, and we are getting pretty close to George James Red Sullivan's final resting place. I'll show you this beautiful statue over here on this. Appears to be a garden or a grave. I think it's just a garden. Not sure. Beautiful. Beautiful flowers. Maryland. Dedicated to all who rest here by Reverend Mr. Paul and Annette Downford Blessed, August 15th, 2022. Isn't that lovely? So we are on the back way here, back of the stone, so I'll walk around this way. Don't shoot too much of that house. Don't want to get in trouble by the neighbors. And I think he's in the front row if I remember correctly. Like I said before, it's been a while since I've been here. I actually been to a few of these cemeteries before I started trying to do YouTubing. I used to fulfill photo requests on the Find a Grave website. I'm sure you've heard GV talk about that many times, or Sue. So I think we're getting close, and as you can see, we're all in the pumpkin mood over here. We've got pumpkins on the gravestones. So before I show you George's resting place, I'll just give you a quick view over here. Isn't that beautiful? Look at that over there. Beautiful field, highway, main highway, right into the center of this little farming community. If you blink, you might miss it. So he is around here somewhere. Oh, here we go. Look at this beautiful one. Isn't that lovely? Okay, let's see. So there it is right there. That is the final resting place of George Red Sullivan. That is the back of the stone, actually. So I will show you the front. There's a glare, so I won't get too close. I don't want to be on camera. So it says George James Red Sullivan, December 24th, 1929, died January 19th, 2019, and his wife Marion Catherine, July 11th, 1931, and she's still living. So I will cross in front of it anyways, just to give you a view. Just a simple stone for a famous hockey player. Alright guys, that concludes this video. If you like this sort of content, please subscribe, give the video a thumbs up, and all that jazz. And I thank you for coming with me on this adventure. Until next time, have a great day and thank you very much.